Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships, Sunday night at 9. I am Coach Glenda, your Rise Again woman. Hello, you guys. We have another amazing topic for you tonight. In tonight's session of Sunday nights at 9 p.m., I'm going to answer the question, what keeps us in relationships we already know aren't right for us, and how we finally choose ourselves. If this is your first time here, welcome. It's great to see you. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you can be notified when we post new content. Okay, tonight's topic, you guys, is when you know it's a bad match, but you're still there. When you know it's a bad match and you are still there. All right. I know that a lot of us, and if it's not you, you may know someone that has been in a relationship with someone that, they learned or recognized early on that, oh, I think I done made a mistake. He or she, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. I mean, you start to recognize the emotional misalignment. Um, you start asking yourself or trying to understand, why are you still here? You start to identify internal conflict versus external reality. And then you start moving from awareness to decision. So when you recognize that you are in a bad match, let's see. I know last week I touched a little bit on myself because I was in a bad match for 15 years, but I was okay. It really didn't stop me from living. It didn't stop, me from being productive, but it did, put my life on hold a little bit because I wasn't able to get into another genuine, fulfilling, positive, healthy relationship because I was still holding on to someone that I knew it wasn't going any further than where we are today. So, if you're just joining, I just want to go back over the topic. When you know it's a bad match, but you're still there. Okay. Now, just based off of hearing that topic, does anybody want to, give a comment on, just what their thoughts are on the topic before we dive into our examples? Have anybody experienced being in a bad match relationship? Does anybody want to just come off mute and say that, I've experienced it, or I knew someone that experienced a bad match and this is what happened? Does anyone want to come offline, off mute, and share some comments about a bad match?
I think. Good evening.
Good
Excuse me. I
evening.
was I was choking. I was eating something. I was choking. Pardon me. But I think for me, before I married the man that I married, I think I realized at some point before then that we were not a good match. That it was a bad match. Like in our first just going together stage, getting together, I felt like I should have deserted that. I shouldn't have stuck with it. But I stayed with it even till marriage. I stayed with it. So, there was a time when I felt like, okay, it is good. But then there was a time when I felt like it's not so good. It's not for me. I was even told by my father that it wasn't for me. But I went against the grain because when you tell me something that's bad, then I'm going for it more. But it turned out to be correct. What they were saying turned out to be correct. And what I knew turned out to be correct. However, I stuck with it because I felt like it'll get better. I could
Right.
make it better. We're going to be all right. But there were times when it was good, but there was a majority of time when I was just telling myself it was good, but it wasn't good.
Right.
So yeah, I've been there.
See, that's
Yeah,
that's that's great. Was you about to
I,
say
if
something?
yeah, if you don't mind, I comment on that. And and it said something that's very typical, especially with new relationships and in the dating process. A lot of times, people who are, when they're dating or short-term relationships, they feel that they know something's wrong. They know that this probably is not a good match for them. They know that, but in their mind, they feel that they deepen the connection or deepen the intimacy or now move in or get married. This is what's going to solve it, and everything's going to be great, and they're going to get what they're hoping for. And a lot of people fall into that trap. A lot of people. That's very common. And that's one of the biggest things that happened right in that runway between dating and marriage. A lot of people feel that they've had something because of that excitement of getting dating, and the person, this is the person you chose, and the person chose you, and it's so beautiful. And then when it started getting a little sour, you say, well, maybe if I love a little deeper, if I move in, or if we get married or engaged, this is going to get better. And that's what normally happens. And tonight we're really going to talk about that. As a matter of fact, let me do this right here, right quick, because a lot of times when we look for bad match, we think a lot of people think bad match is you're fighting, you're cussing and fussing, and it just don't flow. You know, this I'm gonna throw this out at the beginning so we'll know what, so everybody know what we're talking about tonight. That's not necessarily it. It could be the wrong values. It could be a timing issue. It could be an emotional ability where they're not available emotionally, but they're good people. It could be life goals. You guys could have different desires out of life. You know, it could be conflict of styles. One of you guys could be somebody that that loves a bunch of attention, somebody in your face all the time, and the other one could be somebody that, hey, just leave me alone, just call me for dinner kind of deal. And it's capacity. Your capacity. You may be a brilliant person and have a mind for a lot of things, but the other person might be closed minded and don't want to do much of anything.
Right.
And it could be commitment. So it's not necessarily a bad person. So don't say tonight is I got a bad match because I got a bad person. That may not be the case. There's other things. So tonight we want to get deep because this is something that really, really affects a lot of us and our children, our grandchildren, and our culture and society. So this is very important tonight. All right, I'm sorry, Glenn, I didn't mean to get off on that rabbit hole, but I get fired up about this subject. Go ahead.
No problem. Mr. Carpenter, would you consider that the quiet knowing?
Yes, the quiet knowing, that's the first problem right there. That's the first problem because no one has slapped you in your face or called you an MF. So in your mind, we can save this because if the person cuss you out, slap you in your face, or rob your money or something like that, then it's an easy decision. Yeah, I know this is bad. But he's out. But the quiet knowing is that they just don't. It just don't seem right, but you know in your heart, like Annette said, I knew that what that marriage wasn't for me. And people said it wasn't for me. She knew it. Quietly in her heart, she knew it. But she stayed.
Right.
So that's what quiet knowing is. Quiet knowing is you know, but you haven't made a decision to get out of it or change or to put. Sometimes it's not so much getting out. Sometimes you have to tell the person, look, here's the issue. Can you fix it?
Right, exactly.
Fix it. And if they fix it in a short time and be consistent, it's fixed.
Right.
If they can't fix it, they give you a lot of lip service and don't fix it, talk ain't fixed. So that's it. That's
You're
what
right about
quiet.
that. I was thinking about that comment you just made prior to Sunday night at 9. You know, when I thought about myself being in a bad match, when you speak up and you voice your opinion, you tell them what's right, what's wrong, and and you let them know if something doesn't change, this relationship is not gonna go any further. I can't stay with you anymore because XYZ is wrong. Some people have a tendency, I've noticed, they hear you, but they'll only make a change for a short period of time, just to, oh, I'm gonna just do this for a little while, and maybe he or she is gonna maybe brush it under the rug and overlook everything. But in reality, it doesn't make the relationship any better. You're not really paying attention to the person that you so-called say you love, and you're downplaying their feelings and their emotions. So it's not always that you're not effectively communicating. The other person really isn't picking up what you're putting down. They're really not, making you a priority. They're not really paying, too much attention to what you're saying, because they don't see anything wrong with their behavior. They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing or what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you did touch a little bit on, Mr. Carpenter, what a bad match actually looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly justifying what doesn't feel right, feeling drained instead of fulfilled. We start to force compatibility. We making excuses for almost every little thing that we know is wrong. Ignoring red flags, yes, due to time invested, thinking that it's going to always get better, holding on to potential instead of reality.
Mm-hmm. And
Knowing the truth is, if I say I do, or if I proceed in this relationship, I believe I won't even say 100%. I will say 90% of the time it's not going to get any better. It is.
yeah. And going back to Annette's comments at her dad, I knew Annette's dad, so I know exactly how he told her. He told her S stinks. You don't believe S stinks. It stinks.
Yes, yes, yes.
So she didn't believe S stinks, but that's what because I knew her dad. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to put that in there.
No, 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 that's good because we all needed to hear that. Okay, so our first example for tonight, we have Tanya. Tanya, she says, he's not a bad man. It's just something missing. She feels emotionally unseen. Conversations lack depth. She's always adjusting. So, what kind of comments or what kind of feedback can we give to Tanya tonight to help her through this situation? Help her through these feelings that she's feeling. Because it sounds like, she's already identified that something is missing because he's really not a bad person. Of course, there's really no bad person, but it's what you will and will not tolerate. Can you have a lifelong future with someone that hits you, calls you out of your name, or mismanages money, you know, over a long period of time? Those are things you need to think about. But what advice or what comments or feedback would you like to give Tanya tonight? Remember, she's saying that he's not a bad man. It's just something missing. And she's not telling us exactly what's missing, but she knows it's something just not right, which gives me a red flag that lets me know this is a strong possibility. This is going to be a bad match. Remember, she feels emotionally unseen. The conversations that they're having, it lacks depth. It sounds like she's probably doing most of the talking. I want to say he's listening, but not listening. And she's always adjusting. She's always making changes, probably to suit his availability, his time, making everything convenient for him.
I I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead. Come on.
I I think we have to, Tanya, we have to begin to start trusting and believing in ourselves. I mean, because our instincts is like a conscience. Our conscience is really our guide. And it's telling us something is not right. And it's telling us what that something ain't right is. Um, and she feels like something is wrong. So her instinct, everything about her is telling her, desert it, run away, leave it alone. I think that's what she should do.
Right,
I don't think she should contemplate anything other than, I'm not sure what it is, but I don't feel comfortable,
right.
and leave it alone. I don't know what somebody else may say, but that's what I would say.
I mean, that's good. That's good feedback because she does say that she's emotionally unseen, and that's big. That's big for women in relationships. I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm there for all the physical activities, but when it comes to the emotional side of the relationship, it's always a hit and miss or nothing at all. So, I agree with you. You have a valid comment. Did anyone else want to chime in on that example?
You know, and it's really on point tonight because Annette's on fire. Some of the stuff she said and just now was really nice because a lot of times you gotta stop romancing the potential and you gotta assess what's the reality in relationships. And you do it by first asking yourself these questions. Are we aligned in communication?
Mm-hmm.
Are we aligned in respect? Are we aligned in values? Are we aligned in boundaries? And if everything is not if it's not that, you just can't hope these things to get better later. You can't do that. You gotta in dating, especially in dating is a stage that you evaluate somebody. And you can't keep over investing yourself into a mismatch because you're not going anywhere healthy. So you can't keep, and that's what a lot of people do. They over invest themselves thinking that it's going to get better, where all you're doing is pouring money down or time down a bad hole.
Right.
So that's so Anna was right on point with her answer.
Okay, we got a comment in the chat. It says, "Why don't she tell him her feelings so they can figure it out?" Now, my first comment to the comment in the chat is, if she is talking and he's not receptive to what she's saying, then what happens? I mean, she can always do that. But I know from my history and my experience, when I was talking, it went through one ear and out the other. Or if they did make a change, it was just for a limited time only. And like Mr. Carpenter said earlier, when you make a change and it's consistent, that means you're not going to go back to what bothered me, irritated me, or made me mad. So to your question in the chat, she can talk to him, but if he's not willing to make the change, was she just wasting her time?
And on top of that, there's two people in a relationship. If she talked to him, great. And talking to him would probably be the first way to let him know or her know whether it's vice versa, whether it's a man or woman. You talk to them and let them know that's great. That's probably the first leg because you want to make them aware. And then when you talk to make them aware, then you still got to ask yourself, you got to ask yourself, is the things you're looking for, are they aligned in there? And then the person can say, well, hey, look, I thought this, I can do this, so I can't do that. Or maybe we both make agreement to split, or maybe we'll work on it. But the first leg is talk to them. But the second leg is two people in there. You got to realize if you're not getting what you need, once you communicate and tell a person what you need, and you're not getting what you need, or they don't have the capacity or desire to give you what you need, it's time to say something's different. You need to make some decisions. So we don't tell you to break up. We're not saying break up. What we're trying to say is be aware and let the situation dictate your moves and next steps. Because you may have some next steps, and those next steps could be separate, or those next steps could be try to repair. But you have to make those decisions. So what we'll do is make it very clear and get you some clarity, and you get some courage, and we work it out.
Right. Okay, so the ones that are just chiming in, tonight's topic is when you know it's a bad match, but you're still there. Okay, we're going to move on to example number 2 this evening. Monique, successful, strong, independent, but in her relationship, she overgives, she overexplains, and overcompensates. Do you think Monique is doing a little too much? Yeah, read the example one more time. We have Monique, successful, strong, independent, but in her relationships, she overgives, she overexplains, overcompensates. Does anybody want to come off mute or put something in the chat and tell me what your comments are for Monique? Do you really think she's doing too much, or could this be a bad match for her? If she has to overgive, over-explain, overcome, those are three O's. Do you think that this is considered a bad match for Monique when she has to over-give, over-explain, overcompensate for everything?
I got one easy answer, one easy question.
Great.
She's working for love and she's investing in it instead of receiving it. See, her thing is she's not receiving love, she's working in love.
Mm-hmm.
She's putting in all this effort, but she's not getting that word reciprocity is not there. From what this example shows, she's not getting reciprocity, and she's working hard at that.
Right.
And that could be a one-sided relationship. It could be a lot of things. But
match.
I guess that's the easy answer. Yes. Anyone else have any comments about this one?
You know, someone did put in the chat.
Somebody was going to say something. Somebody was going to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it could be that she's the type of person that she has to do that because of where she is. She's an overachiever. So the person that's on the other end receiving her love, it could be that she's smothering them. She could be giving them too much. They could be just saying, wait, enough is enough. I need you to take just a step back. But she might not have the ability to do that unless that person tells her to do that, because she's overdoing it because she's choosing to do it. That's just the person she is, I believe. So on the receiving end of it, it might be smothering. It might be too much. That's the way I look at it. I don't know.
Okay. I know someone is in that particular that is in that particular situation now where they can't keep a guy because they overgive.
It's sort of like she's trying to buy, like you said, she's trying to buy the love.
Right.
Versus, getting it free. It's like, if I do this for you, you're gonna love me.
Right.
Maybe so, maybe not.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, the other party, especially if it's the male on the receiving end, if they feel smothered, they really fall back and, and they pick and choose what they want from the person, but they never emotionally or physically commit to the person because, you're right. They do smother. They just come out the gate just a little too strong. Like they come out extremely needy. And it could be in the first 3 months of the relationship. And some people are like, girl, chill out. Like, when the last time you had a man? So I do get what you're saying. That's on the flip side of a bad match. This is, we were more or less talking tonight about the female recognizing or the male recognizing a bad match, and the person in your example was the person that was receiving. They was receiving a little too much, and they looked at it as being smothered. So I do get that. I do appreciate your feedback. Someone in the chat put that this is not their person. That person is not for them.
Right.
And that's
Okay.
true.
And this is real story. I was in a relationship, and this person on the lady, she smothered. She was a beautiful lady in spirit and in everything. She smothered me. She was just everything. She was my mama, my nurse, my finance. She was everything. And she was a little young. She was a little younger than me, but I just said, hold it. I just said, I need a break. I need my own identity here, because she took my identity and everything pretty much. So this right here, if this was what's her name, Monica? She sounded like she was a Monica, and I was on the other end. That was a bad match for me. I had to eventually, say, hey, look, I'm not the right person for you. You need someone that would treat you better than me, because I'm not the one. So I had to bow gracefully on that one.
Understood.
So I know exactly what this is like on the other end.
Okay. Now we have another example. If there's no more comments on Monica, we're going to move on to our next example for tonight. We have Keisha. Keisha already knows, she said, I don't think this is it. Something feels off. But she stays. All those are red flags. When you start answering your own questions, I don't think this is it. Something feels off. I mean, let's think about it. How long are you going to stay to find out what that something is that feels off? And I don't think this is it. I mean, it's pretty obvious. And Mr. Carpenter said tonight, we don't tell anybody to break up. We don't tell anybody to get a divorce. But you can just, step back, reevaluate your position in your friendship, your relationship, and see if you want to continue it before you invest so many more years into it and not get what you want or be happy. So when you think about Keisha tonight, what are your feedbacks or your comments? How can we help Keisha tonight? Remember, she doesn't think that this is it, and something feels off. And she probably already knows exactly the answers to her question. I mean, 9 times out of 10, we already know.
I have something to say.
Go right ahead.
I think Keisha knows this is not her person, but Keisha also has somebody else too.
What?
Because I cannot believe that she's staying in a relationship that's not good. She's getting the benefits, but she's got somebody else too.
So what gave you the impression she got somebody else?
Because she knows it's not what she needs.
Oh.
She's doing that until she locks this other person in.
Oh.
I guess might have put the kickstand down for a minute and address that because that's a little off from the topic. But I guess that's the reality because it may be a bad matchup for Keisha and a bad match for the other person too. So let's put the kickstand there and let's explore this rabbit hole a little bit more.
Okay, you want to dive in a little deeper. Okay.
Gigi, you want to dig a little deeper in that, or anybody else want to dig in on this, or anybody see that where Gigi's coming from on this, or experienced that before?
It's just been my observation of several of my friends that I've seen do this, and it doesn't make it right, but that's just the gist of it. They have a few people that they circle around to. They have one for this and one for that, and at the bottom line of it is nobody's happy. Everybody is confused, and nobody is winning.
Anybody want to assist in clarifying this or bringing this out a little bit more?
Wow.
Anybody else notice this behavior? Or
I think, is she trying to say like maybe she's staggering someone on, holding someone on? Is that really what you're saying, Gigi? Is that where you see it?
Yeah, she's holding him. I mean, he's a placeholder.
Okay.
Until somebody comes along
I
and
get
they
it.
really, really take her attention away, and she finally says, "No, I'm done with this."
I understand.
that sounds like in the meanwhile kind of action. Any more comments on that? Because
I'm sorry. I think a lot of that is done. I think what the way Gigi said, like a placeholder. I think a lot of people do that. I think that happens a lot.
then I want to ask: are we talking this in dating? Are we talking this in short, long-term relationships? Are we talking this in marriage, or all the above?
I'm talking about dating.
Okay, I just want to make sure we had the right context to the content.
I think it could be marriage as well.
Oh, wow.
I think so. I think so. It could be marriage. People just holding on I, I, I think I know people like that. I think it could be. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then does that need to be another subject we bring at a future date, or we want to flesh this one out right now while we're here?
That's a good subject.
So you think was something we should bring up for another time as a complete subject?
Yes,
Okay.
because there are people like that. And I won't say they're codependent on that person, but there's a need that they're with that person. But do you think it's using that person? Are they using them?
Well, like there is a song out. If you give me what I need and you get what you need, is it using? I mean,
I think it's using.
there was a song out. I heard the song before. All right, Glenda, how you want to tackle that, Glenda?
How I want to tackle what? Her the other topic?
Yeah, whether it's gonna be another topic completely, and it'll be placeholder. It'll be a Keisha plus the placeholder on it. That Keisha knows that that this is not the one, and she holds on as a placeholder. You want to bring that as another topic
Yeah, we
and
can.
a strong topic, or finish
Yeah, we
dealing
could
with it.
create another topic.
Okay. All right. So that'll be another topic. Okay. So let's go back to Keisha just being just the context of tonight that Keisha thinks that she don't think this is it. Something don't feel right or feels kind of off. And once again, let me remind you that a bad match don't mean a bad person. It could be that you have the wrong values. It could be timing. It could be emotional ability, availability. It could be life goals. It could be conflict, style, your conflict. There's a style, conflict and style. One of you guys may be what's the style? One of you guys may be somebody that wants a person in your face, where another person may want a person that, hey, look, I just want to know you love me. You don't have to be in my face all the time. I need my little freedom away from you. And that could be that conflict in style, or it could be capacity, or it could be commitment. So all of these things are what makes a bad match. And Keisha here, she's aware of one of those things. And it could be some people say, well, we depend on communication and boundaries and mutual support and respect. It could be one of those things. So there's a lot here when you're talking about bad match. And that's why bad matches are sometimes so difficult to deal with, because it's not just a bad person. If it was a bad person, you would know, hey, this is a bad person. I'm out of here. Peace out. But when it's not a bad person, it's just a bad situation. And that's what you're dealing with. So Keisha could be that it could be a bad situation, and she knows it because it's not nobody slapping her in the face or calling her names.
Right.
It stays there. Some of you could say it's not right, but in Keisha's mind, hey, it works. In the comments?
No, you covered
I
everything.
don't want no relationship like that. To me, that's not a healthy relationship. Either you want me or you don't want me. And it's simple as that.
Okay.
And then if you consider the fact that when you look at our age group for reset, 35, 30 and up, most women and some men, I won't say most men, but some men, they are looking to get married. They have a desire to get married. I think the desire to get married for men probably happens later in life, maybe after 60 or 70, but for women, we have that strong desire probably way before our 30s, but it really starts to hit home 30 and up. And, for you to be in a relationship and recognize that it's a bad match, and you recognize that in the first 2 years, it's like, you have to ask yourself, do I want to, if I desire to get married, if I desire to have kids, how long am I going to sit here when you already know that something is off or something doesn't feel right with this person? So you
Yeah,
have to ask yourself in the beginning, when you first identify that this is a potential or possible bad match, you know, should I proceed with caution or should I just fall back a little bit? We can be friends, but as far as exclusively dating, that might not happen or that shouldn't happen.
there's two factors that make this kind of understandable
Okay.
and realistic. One is there's a widespread loneliness in America. That's one of the academics that the health says that public health says there is a lot of loneliness in America. And I can imagine if you're lonely and you have a problem getting somebody, being with somebody, sometimes you hold on to what you have, even though it may not be the best for you. And the
Mhm.
second part of this is trauma. Some of us have been traumatized in earlier relationships because you said the age thing. Some of us have been traumatized in early relationships, and some of us really don't know what a good relationship is. Some of us have been traumatized or conditioned for pain or conditioned for less than. And when we find that less than, we're comfortable. We're at home. What's that smile about, Linda? When I said that, find at home. I mean, am I the only one that noticed this or read this?
Well, I haven't read it, but I mean, I agree with you, but it still doesn't mean that I would want that or I want to tolerate that because that gets old.
Yes,
Because
it does.
go ahead, Gigi.
One thing that I love about Reset and that it has helped me in my relationships because there was a time I would not set boundaries up front. I would not set anything. I wouldn't say anything. But now I let them know up front what my boundaries are, what I expect, and that I am dating for marriage. I'm not, just fooling around. I'm not playing. I mean, either you in or you out. I mean, simple as that. If you're not dating for marriage or whatever, you can just move on, move out the way.
Thanks for stating that. Thanks for sharing that. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was awesome. And she said some powerful stuff there. She said before reset, that was her thing. So before that, and that's why I applaud Glenda so much for having this forum because this is a free forum. She don't charge anybody for this, and it's happened every Sunday night at 9. And it's where you can come in and get some answers, or you can come in and you can see what other people are doing and going through and talking about. And here, this is not a forum where we're trying to fix you or make you think this or think that. This is a forum where you can come and you can see what's happening through other people's lives and through other people talking about it as a community. So I really appreciate that. And what Gigi said, let me know that as the manager here at Reset, that this is working. That this is working because when Glenda first started, she said, "If I can just help one person, I'll consider it a success." So, Glenda, I applaud you for that. I turn it back over to you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but that made my heart feel good when I heard that.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Does anybody else have any comments they want to share?
Yes, I was thinking. I was thinking about something when Gigi said what she said. I was like, my mind just went completely blank. Like what? Like oh my gosh, she was so good. But what I was thinking is, as far as like how, just like how Gigi said, she's letting the person know up front that what her desires are, but she knows that she has decided that within herself. She's found that out, but sometimes people don't know it. It's like individuals have to learn themselves to understand when I'm in a bad relationship or when I'm not getting what I want. They have to understand that they have a right to what they want. It may be out there, it may not be. But if it's not, how sometimes some people used to say you set your standards too high. I don't know if you ever heard that
Mm.
comment before. I've heard that. But my thing of it is it's not too high. It is you. You
Right.
are particular for whatever you are particular for. And if you haven't found it with this Sally or that Joe, then you just got to keep going.
Right, exactly.
Because maybe you won't find it at all, but you still keep looking. Don't settle. And I think we have people have learned how to settle versus keep going. And then too, we don't need to be looking in everybody else's house either. We have to look inside ourselves for what we ourselves want, to find it out there. Because if you can desire it, it can be out there. You just have to keep going till you get it. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
You're right.
I agree with you, Annette, on that. And looking at Monica, she settled. She settled for mediocre. I mean, she didn't get the full prize. And instead of just moving on, she stayed.
And that's the big thing right there, especially if you have a desire to be married and to have a family. I heard a story this weekend where one of my friends went to go see another friend that is moving from Georgia to another state because her marriage failed. And what's so funny, they dated for over 5 years, but they were only married for 9 months before they got a divorce. And I just asked the question, I said, like, what happened? I mean, if you've dated for so long, how come the marriage didn't work? And she said, well, they had issues while dating. I said, uh-huh. I said, and she still married him? She thought that it would get better. And then the kicker that blew my mind when she told me the story was because they were together for so long, they didn't have any children together, but she always had a desire to have a baby with him. But she had wasted so many years just dating him and then marrying him, and then it didn't last, that now she's past the age to have a child. Not so much with him anymore, with anybody else. So she feels as if she wasted so much time. And see, that's the big picture a lot of us don't look at. When you recognize or start to feel like with Keisha, something feels off. When you start to feel something is off in those relationships or in those friendships, you have to ask yourself the $1 million question. If this doesn't get better, am I willing to put my life on hold for another 5, 10, 15 years, waiting for you to get yourself together? And if you know you still have a whole life to live, you want to have more children, you want to get married, you want to do, you want to travel, but you waiting for this other person to find out what he or she wants to do, you have to ask yourself those questions. Are you willing to wait? And if you're not willing to wait, it's a strong possibility that's a bad match and you may need to hold out for something else. Now, I know a lot of us don't want to wait. And I understand waiting isn't for everybody. A lot of people want that instant, instant satisfaction, instant gratification. We want that instant, Mr. Mr. and Miss. But it doesn't always work that way because sometimes I know for me, it takes a lot to make your destiny partner. It's a lot of ingredients that goes into that recipe to produce that person that God wants you to be with, that's going to fulfill you in every aspect of your life. So if this is a lemon, the next one is a lemon, you may just have to hold out and wait. And hopefully, if God willing, it won't be too long to where you won't be able to have any more children. And it won't be because I can't have any more kids because I stayed in this bad relationship for too long. It'll be because that wasn't the Lord's will for you. I can accept that the Lord it's not the Lord's will for me versus I put my life on hold for Joe Blow. That's the part that blows my mind. Because like I said before in a couple of other episodes, I remember before I filed for my divorce with my ex-husband, my mom asked me the $1 million question. Are you willing to wait 10 years for the Lord to save your husband? Before she could put the question mark at the end of the sentence, I told her no, because I knew immediately what that consisted of. Putting my life on hold, waiting for him to figure out if he want to be a father, if he want to be a husband, if he want to be a destiny partner, did he want to go all the way? I didn't have it in me. Okay.
Let's go back to you talked about your friend and her situation. She moved out of the state because of that. They were together for 5 years and only married for 9 months, and she knew the deal that was one of the first scenarios we said when we first started. When we first started the conversation about 9, 10, when we set it off, that we're saying is that if it's a bad match and you know it's a bad match, and that quiet knowing, it's not going to get better. You're not going to make it better by thinking you're going to love harder or move in or get married. That's not going to make it work. That's, matter of fact, that's going to make you actually see clearly what's going on. Instead of you walking away and doing something else or making another decision, you decide, okay, I'm going to love harder. I'm going to move in, I'm going to marry, and I'm going to give more myself. 9 months later, what happened? That's let you know if you know it's a bad match going in, and you know it's a bad match, loving harder, moving in and getting married is not going to make it better. It's not going to fix it. It's going to blow up in your face. Yeah. So that was one of the first scenarios we said tonight. Go ahead.
The consequences will be greater once you get married, because marriage is no joke. Then you have to split assets if you have those. And then if you have children, you have to take the children through a divorce and custody battles, all that yucky stuff that comes with it when you decide to move a bad match into a lifelong or a legal commitment. So that's a lot that, you have to think about when you're in a bad match relationship. And when you notice it, you identify it early on. You have to ask yourself those hard questions. And like Mr. Carpenter says, marrying or loving more, loving harder doesn't make the situation any better.
And I think knowing your boundaries help out a lot. I mean, my Valentine date, that was an experience for me. I've experienced that when I was younger, but not in the age that I am now.
Right.
And he circled back, but no, I said no. You already showed me who you were.
Exactly.
You showed me exactly who you were and what you actually wanted. And that's not something I wanted. I want a long-term relationship, not a relationship built on the physical.
Correct. That's funny. He circled back.
No, that was it. I knew he was going to circle back. When she gave the comment that night, I knew he was going to come back.
when he was disappointed, when he didn't get what he wanted, you knew he was going to circle back.
Think about it.
No.
I knew he was going to circle back, because think about it. The time he invested, he wanted something there, and no wasn't a no for him.
Okay. What was you saying?
It was for me.
Yeah, for you, but not for him. He said, "What the heck? Let's give it one more shot."
No. Well, I'm glad that you, because of your boundaries, Gigi, you didn't fall for the okie doke or just entertain him again. After, like you said, he showed you who he really was and what he wanted. So you knew right there, it was a possibility that there wasn't going to be anything long-term or fulfilling.
But
Go ahead.
I've been off work for about 2 weeks, and I had an experience. I was hit on the job, but 2 weeks that I've been at home, I feel like God has just kind of stopped me, put me in place, and just grounded me so that, I can really, really look at my life and look at what He wants me to do going forth. I don't have time for relationships like that. I want to be married, and I don't want a relationship built on physical. I don't want a relationship built on a person that doesn't want to do anything for me. I mean, that's important to me. Not so much um, I am a gold digger. It's the fact. I mean, you could come out and cut my grass, or if you can't cut it, have somebody to pay for it. I mean, it means more to me than you just buying things. But if you don't want to do anything for a person, or vice versa, what's the use of having them?
Right.
And I
Exactly.
think I heard you mention taking out the trash.
Exactly.
It's simple. The simple things in life
Oh my
mean the most.
goodness. Yes.
The simple things.
When I saw my fiance sweep the floor, wash dishes, take the trash out, pull the trash can from the front to the back and the back to the front, I said, oh my gosh, the Lord done did it. Put in the work. I was like, oh my goodness. Trying to get someone else from a past relationship to do that. I was like, you want me to do what? If you ate, why you can't wash the dish? Oh no. I was just blown away in the first
But I
15
bet they were
minutes.
ready to eat.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's those small things. You'd be so surprised. Some people say, that's all you ask for? That's all you want? I said, well, can I get it first? Let me get it first. I've never experienced someone giving the small things, but they always ask me for the big ticket items. To do your resume, fill out an application, do some research. Can you compose this? Can you do this? But when it came to me, I mean, I've been single for so long. I know how to take my car to get an oil change. I know if I hear something wrong with my car to take it to the automotive shop. I know that. But when you have someone that comes in your life and you mention, you know what, I think my AC went out, and they drive your car unexpectedly and come back and your AC is fixed, I really didn't expect for you to do that. But you did it on your own. You did it out of well, I can't assume, but I'm just going to take a shot at you. Did it out of love for me and a need. It had to be done. Either I was going to do it or she's going to do it. But since I got a car and I know someone that could fix it, hey, let me take care of it. And that's the person I want to invest my time, energy, and effort into. I don't mind if you want me to bake bread so you can have it after every meal or with every meal and have a dessert after. I will slave over the stove. You want a 5 course meal? I'm gonna do it. Because look how you treat me. You treat me like a queen. Why can't I treat you like a king? I deserve that, so I'm gonna treat you the same way. So
You're right.
that's just my take on it.
That's $1 million question.
It is.
Y'all get a man, because most women say what y'all just said. Y'all get a man who come and do the little things with no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Then y'all get spoiled and expect those little things, but yet in return, what do y'all do? What little things do y'all do? That's a two-way street
I can't tell
that
you.
nobody never brings forward. And I'm not talking about the physical, because the physical is something that should come naturally. I'm talking about little things that a woman can do for that man. And if you need an example, take him out to eat. Don't go in the kitchen and cook. Take him to the show. Take him somewhere. Treat him. Those are little things that you can do. Let him come home to a new cologne or something. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But
sir.
do
I agree with
females
you.
usually do that though?
I
I'm not
agree.
speaking of one in particular person now. I'm just putting it out there because a lot of females don't do the little things, but they
That's true.
expect the little things.
That's true. You're right. Because I thought you were talking about me. I was like, I do that.
Oh, heck no. I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking one individual
Right,
because everybody have their own person.
right, right,
And
right.
then as far as staying in a long-term relationship or marriage, we fail to realize insecurity plays a major role in most of the relationships, period.
Mm-hmm.
A person is insecure in themselves, whether it's the male or the female. So they put up with a lot of bull, a lot of things because they're insecure within themselves of what's out there. Oh, I settle for this because I can't get this out there. I don't think I'm pretty enough. I don't think I'm good enough. And in my instance, I played that role a lot. I ain't physically able to do that. So insecurity played a lot of roles. So you stay and you endure, you take, you put up, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of things that keep people stagnant in where they at instead of moving on when they know the situation is bad. There's a lot of things you got to think about.
That's true. That is true. But are you willing to stay in it for so many years and suffer the consequences when you know early on that you're in a bad match?
It all depends because,
Um,
like I said, between insecurity and feel I owe you and the way I was raised, I stayed 18 and a half years. That's almost half of my lifetime.
mhm,
Well, it was half of my lifetime at the time. You understand?
mhm.
So it all depends. It's not that you want to, it's that it happens. Shit happens. And as the way time runs now, before you realize it, 5, 10 years ago went past before you even realized it.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
If I said no, you still gonna answer. I know.
If you told me
Go
no,
ahead.
I wouldn't.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
If you could go back, do you wish you could have ended the relationship earlier?
No,
You said no?
no.
Okay.
I said no because that goes back to what I ask people. If you can go back and change anything in your past, would you and why?
Yes.
I wouldn't change nothing because even though it was 18 and a half years, it's not what you go through. It's what you learn when you come through it.
That's true. That's
Mhm.
true. But I still
So
want to do
if
a couple
you,
of repeats.
yeah, but you got to understand something. You look at the people around you, the ones that love you, your parents, your kids, your husband, your wife, your friends, the ones that really love you. They love you for who you are. If you go back and change that, those same people that love you for who you are might not be there for you, might not be in your life. You might make a better life, but then you have another set of friends. You have another set of family, another spouse or somebody else. You won't have the ones that's there for you now that you do know. Or it can go the other way until where you could be really messed up if you change them. That's a toss of a coin. I look at life as it is. So what God gave you, He give you. And what He gave you, He gave you. So therefore, why would you want to go back and change what God has given you? But like I
Okay.
said, it's not what you go through, it's what you learn when you come through it. And the
Okay.
average person is going to learn something from what they go through because even with Gigi and all the rest of them, your past is what made you the way you are towards your mentality on what you think. If you've been dogged and hurt, you know you ain't gonna be dogged and hurt again because you're gonna put up the red flags. You're gonna put up the walls.
Hey,
So you
hey,
learned something.
ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 minutes. So Glenda, you gotta make a decision. Are we gonna carry this into next week, or are we just gonna shut it down now? What's your decision? And after you make the decision, I'm gonna say one. I want to say 2 words or 3 words first. Go ahead.
Yeah, cut me off, cut me off, cut me off.
No, well, I say my 3 words
No,
right
we
now.
good.
I'm gonna say my 3 words now. God give us all free will. All right, but go ahead, Glenda.
All right, if you guys want to do a part 2, just discuss this topic a little bit more, please let me know. I always like to give my audience the opportunity to make the choice whether or not we do a part 2 on a topic. I don't want it to be just about me or me and Mr. Carpenter. So, audience, what do you think? Do we need to talk about this a little bit more?
I think we do, and also bring out what some of the things that Mr. Kingdom said about self-esteem and different levels of people that have problems, that is associated with their self-esteem. Whether they're too fat or they look like this, or this person don't want me because of that, and when they really just need to learn to love themselves.
Okay. All right, we're gonna make this a part 2. But if all hearts and minds are clear, uh, before I give my closing, do we have any other comments or feedback before we move to our closing?
I just got one question, a request.
What is it?
A lot of us is going through a lot right now, mentally, physically, financial, or whatever. If you could have one of the young ladies just say a quick prayer, if you don't mind, and then you can close out and go home.
Okay. Who would like to? Gigi, are you in the mood for giving a prayer tonight?
It ain't got to be long, just a short, quick prayer.
I'll pray for
You can go ahead, Glenn. Go ahead, Gigi. Go ahead then.
you. Finished saying what you want me to go ahead right now?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, there are people on the line. There are people that this platform is going to come in contact with. Lord, if they're experiencing anything that's not right within their soul, their finances, their life, their love, their parents, or whatever, Lord, I ask you to bless them right now. And if it's in your will to change the situation, Lord, and I know you'll do that too. But in the name of Jesus, Lord, I bind everything up that's not like you. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay. Tonight's closing, you don't have to keep choosing what no longer feels right. This week, choose yourself, even if it's even if it's uncomfortable. I'll see you guys next week at Sunday night at 9. Y'all have a wonderful week.
See
Good
you
night.
next Sunday, Coach Glendora.
All right, thank you. Good night,
Bye,
everyone.
Annette.